Hello and welcome to another video. So today we're going to have a look at a few more examples, actually just one example on the unit circle. So let's suppose we know that cosine of x is -3 on 5, and we want to find out all the other functions based on all the trig identities that we know, right? So we want to find out the tan of x, the sine of x, the secant of x, everything. So how are we going to do that? Well, first of all, we know that the secant of x is 1 over cosine x. So let's do that one first. And that's the reciprocal, so that will just be -5 on 3. Right? So we've got that one out of the way. Now let's find out what the sine of x will be. So what will be the sine of x? Well, we know that sine squared x plus cosine squared x from our unit circle trig identities is 1. So sine squared x will be 1 minus cosine squared x. So that would be 1 minus 3 on 5 squared, which will basically be 1 minus 9 on 25. So that is basically 11 on which will be 1 minus 9 over 25. So that is 16 on 25. Right, so that's sine squared x. So that means sine of x will be the square root of 16 on 25, which will be plus or minus 4 on 5. Right, so that gives us sine of x. So that basically goes into how we find out other functions. So we've just found out sine of x. Let's have a look at another example. Let's say we've got the cotangent of x as -5 on 12. So what will that be? Well, we know that cotangent is the inverse of tan. So 1 on tan x is -5 on 12. So tan x is -12 on 5. Right? Now, if we know that tan x is -12 on 5, we can also find out the secant. So using this identity that the secant squared of x is 1 plus tan squared x, we know that that will be 1 plus -12 on 5 squared, which is equal to 1 plus 144 over 25, and that is equal to 169 on 25. So that means that the secant will be the square root of 169 on 25, which is equal to, again, plus or minus 13 over 5. Right, so we know that the secant, so what else can we find out? We know that the secant of x is plus or minus 13 on 5. Well, the secant of x is the inverse of cosine x. So we know that the cosine x is plus or minus 5 over 13. And lastly, we also know that tan x is sine x over cos x. So now that we've got both of those, we can find sine x. So that'll be minus 12 on 5 times minus 5 over 13 to then give us 12 on 13. Right, so that's again another example of I know I only said we'll be doing one, but it looks like we've had enough time to get through two to really show you an idea of how we sort of evaluate trigonometric functions when they're just given to us as radians or simple values. and I'll see you in the next video.